Apartment building in commercial terms means 5 units and more. We are going to talk about the self-storage. The self-storage, the third investment, commercial investment, is shopping center. The other commercial investment is office building. Hi, today we are going to talk about the 5 best commercial type for individuals. The first one is apartments, the second one is self-storage, the third one is shopping mall, the fourth one is office building, and the fifth one is mobile home park. We are going to talk about each different items, and we are going to actually talk about why we are investing in this type of commercial property, what are the pros and cons, and actually give you an example for each one of them. Let's start with apartment building. Apartment building in commercial terms means 5 units and more. So we don't call the duplex or triplex the commercial apartment building. Whatever is more than 5 units, we call it commercial buildings. You know that everybody needs a place to live, so there are always demand for apartment building. So that's one of the best pros for apartment building, that most of the investors in commercial property invest in apartment building because everybody needs a place to live. And as you know, there's not that much construction going on, so people have to go and live in an old apartment building because there is not that much left that they can decide. The other thing that is very important in apartment building that people and investors are get motivated to invest in apartment building are cash flow. The cash flow of apartment building helps you to actually increase the NOI. As you increase the cash flow, you increase NOI, and based on that, you can increase the price of the property and you can force appreciation. This is a very important item. Usually in other type of commercial property, it's not easy to actually increase the rent and increase the cash flow, and based on that increase net operating income and force appreciation. But in apartment building, you can do that very easily if you know when to buy, how to buy, and actually use the method that we tell you in different episodes. So beside the force appreciation that you can use in apartment building, which is very important, you can use the tax benefit and tax shelter in apartment building. Most of the people that invest in apartment building, they use the tax benefit of that because they usually they have a second job and they want to reduce the income that they have. If you are a passive investor in apartment building, you can use the tax benefit of apartment building, and that would help you a lot to decrease the income that you have, and you can do a very good tax write-off on your income. The other point, the other thing that usually investors in apartment building use, they actually create a very big equity in apartment building by paying down the mortgage. And by actually force the appreciation, you can actually increase the equity of the property in a very short period of time. Like in 5-10 years, if you keep the apartment and if you manage it very well, and if you pay down the mortgages, and if you increase the price of the property by forcing the appreciation, you can have a very good equity in a very short period of time that people get motivated to actually buy the multifamily or apartment building. But you have to make sure that when you buy the apartment building, you have to make sure that you actually see the area very well. We don't want to actually go to the area that has the new building construction near the property that we are buying, because usually in that case, the competition would be more, and you would actually have a hard time to find a tenant to actually to come to your property and rent your property. So it's very important that before you buy an apartment, you analyze it well. You go to the area and analyze the area as well, see how much rent increase you can get, how much value add that you can get in that apartment building, and how much cash flow you can add in the building that you're investing at. So these are the items that is very important when you want to invest in a property, and you have to do that beforehand before investing in apartment building. So the apartment building is, in my mind, is number one investment that we can have as a commercial property. So let's go to the next investment, which is a self-storage one. Okay, we are going to talk about the self-storage. The self-storage usually is a commercial building with individual rooms. And these rooms usually are small, like usually they're 5 to 5 or 10 feet to 30 feet, and they're not that big. And usually people, when the economy is not good, they want to downsize their place, they usually put their stuff in the self-storage, or when the economy is booming and it's going up, they usually put the old stuff in the storage and they buy a new one. So always the self-storage is a very demanding commercial property that doesn't need that much money for you to buy that property, because it doesn't have that much equipment and it doesn't need that much labor or maintenance. So the self-storage is almost same as apartment building, but missing a tenant and missing the repair of the toilets, because there is no toilet in self-storage, and can create a lot of cash flow as well as force appreciation that we talk about in apartment building. So you get all the benefit of the apartment building, plus you don't have that much labor to go and take care and maintenance the place because there is no toilet, and you don't have that much maintenance for self-storage property, commercial property. So we very much recommend, if you want to invest in self-storage property, you buy it in a very good area, because usually people, when they want to go and put their valuable stuff in a self-storage room or building, they usually care about the area, because if they actually want to put their valuable stuff, they put it in an area which is safe. And if you actually invest in a self-storage area which is in a bad area, usually you would have a very hard time finding people to actually trust you and put their stuff in that place. So this is very important, and it's, as I told you, it's not labor intensive and maintenance intensive, because there is no tenant and because there is no actually toilet that you have to take care of the maintenance and labors and stuff. And the other thing that I can say about self-storage, they're actually recession proof, because as I told you, when there is a recession, people downsize the property that they have, so they actually put their stuff in the storage, and when the economy is actually booming, they usually put the old stuff in the self-storage and they buy a new one. So in that case, it's a very good investment. And the other thing is the eviction in self-storage are rather easier than apartment building, because you don't have to go through all the hassles that you go through when you want to do the eviction in apartment building. It's not the same. It's a lot easier, and you don't have to do that much work. The other cons are it takes longer to fill it in, and this is other cons. And okay, the third investment, commercial investment, is shopping center. What are the cons and pros of shopping center? The shopping centers usually are very much stable compared to other commercial investment, because usually in shopping center you have a tenant which signed a lease agreement for 5 to 20 years. You don't have to actually look for a tenant all the time, and usually the tenant who come to the shopping mall, they're more stable than other actually type of commercial property. And your tenant should actually be very much selective in shopping mall, because you want to actually attract traffic. You want to have a foot traffic in your shopping center. So you have to pay attention to that and have the tenant that actually bring the traffic to the shopping center. For example, if you have a grocery chain or a large grocery chain that you can actually have it in your shopping center, generate a very good foot traffic to your shopping center, which actually helps your shopping center to the price of your shopping center to go actually higher. Or if you can have a chain pharmacy that generate a lot of traffic, would help your shopping center to actually grow a lot better and have a better traffic in your shopping center. And your tenant should actually complement each other. This is a very important point as well. They have to be very much selective, and you have to have a tenant which actually generate a lot of traffic for the shopping center. And these are very important points when you want to buy a shopping center. And the cons for that is you need a very big capital to actually buy a shopping center. And it's very important that when you want to buy a shopping center, you pay attention to the area and you pay attention to a lot of things that we actually talk about it in different episodes. Okay, and the other commercial investment is office building. Office building can be a single building with one tenant, or it can be a skyscraper that is 80 floor and has 100 tenants. So it's very important that when you want to invest in office building, you know that when the economy is booming, the rent for office building goes up, and when the economy is actually going down, the rent for office building is actually decreasing. So you have to actually be careful and pay attention to economy when you want to buy office building. You have to predict that what's going to happen in terms of economy in next few years, because if you buy office building and later on you realize that the economy is actually is not as good as the time that you buy that property, you might actually lose your money, or the value of the office building might drop. And the tenant for office building usually are different than other type of commercial building, and there are some actually requirement that you have to pay attention when you want to have a tenant in the office building, that we are going to talk about it in different episodes. The last one is mobile home park. We have two situations when we are talking about mobile home park. Usually when we own a mobile home park and we rent it to people to actually bring their home to the park and use the lot, we just rent the lot to them. This is one situation. The other situation is you have the land, mobile home park, and you also have the home, and you rent both of them to your tenant. Me, myself, I rather to actually have just the land and don't have the home, because usually at mobile home park, usually doesn't last that long because they don't really pay attention, and they're not that much careful compared to apartment building. So if I want to buy a mobile home park with the home, I rather the tenant bring the home, not me, because usually it doesn't last that long, and I just want to collect the rent as an investor from the tenant who has the home, and it's actually easier for me to manage that, have a property manager to manage the mobile home park. I very much recommend, if you want to buy your first mobile home park, you actually buy a mobile home park which is big enough that you can hire a property manager to manage it for you, because it's a little bit tricky for the first couple of property that you buy. You have to learn this stuff beforehand, and then once you learn it, you can actually go and do it yourself. The mobile home park has a very good cash flow compared to other type of properties, like compared to the price that you put for the park, to buy the park, and the cash flow, it has a very good cash flow. But the cons is you don't actually get very good financing for the land, because usually the bank for the land and the dirt doesn't finance it that well, and it's very hard to convince the bank to actually finance the mobile home park for you. The pros is the demand is very high for mobile home park, because as the economy is actually going down, the number of the people who are looking for affordable place to live is going up, and usually the demand for mobile home park goes up. Okay, and this was the last part. And now I'm going to talk about the things that you have to pay attention when you want to invest in commercial property. Okay, when you want to buy commercial property, you have to pay attention to two things. First of all, you have to focus in one type of commercial property. Like as an investor, usually investors, they don't go and buy like mobile home park and buy a shopping center and buy the apartment building. Usually they focus in one type of commercial property to invest at. So as an investor, pick your area that you want to invest at and stay in that area and make sure that you do all your effort to actually be expert in that area. And that is the one important thing that you have to pay attention. And the other one is the amount of time you put for 5 units and 100 units, just about the same. So make sure if you want to invest, let's say in an apartment building, you actually go for a big investment in big apartment building if you have enough experience. If you don't have enough experience, you can start from small apartment building, and once you got experience, I very much recommend that you go and invest in 100 units apartment building, or let's say a big apartment building, but with good experience. And you can hire a property manager for the first couple of years that guide you in different steps of that investment. Thank you very much for your time.